Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 3 of Bonds Creek After Hours. Today we have a special guest, the one and only Chris Ashley from Passion for the Wild and Wonderful.
I'm nervous to hunt public land turkey hunting.
Have you ever hunted public land before?
Not for turkey.
You mean just for the fear of possibly being shot?
Yeah.
No doubt.
There's a lot of people that I don't trust.
That is. So we brought up because he showed me a video of you reaping a turkey,
Oh, yeah.
and I was like, there ain't no way I'd ever do that. But look how I hunt.
Yeah.
I run a gun on public. Nope. Now we go hunt your granddaddy's place.
Right, private.
Yeah.
We could probably do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know.
I've thought about 100 ways to try to shoot one with the bow. I put a fan on my bow. I put
Sure.
everything. There's 100 ways, but
Yeah.
these guys are talking me out of it.
I still think your best chance is getting him to come up over a flat where he can't see you until it's too late.
Yeah.
Because if he's got any kind of distance of flat where he can see you, you better be a statue.
Oh, yeah.
So that
Drawing
you're
back
already
is good.
good.
Well, I think, like I said, the key is I would be using a decoy facing you at like 15 yards. And then what you do is you set up. Now with it's either whether you're using a hen or, like for me, what I've really got into is using the lay down hen and the half strutter.
Okay.
And what they'll do is come in and, if you've seen these couple that I posted recently, go full strut. And as soon as they turn full strut and got the fan up, then you draw.
Yeah.
And then if they don't turn, you can still just pretty much come right down to the ringer
Yeah.
and drive it right through. And you got your perfect shot right. Well, you're wanting to do like the guillotine or whatever.
Yeah, the decapper stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So for me, I would be going for the,
Right.
Yeah.
Which,
Ten ring.
honestly,
yeah.
I'm not, I don't necessarily have to shoot one in the head, I don't have to do the decapper stuff. I just thought that was the only way.
It certainly forces
no.
you to it certainly forces you to shoot a tight group to get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we're doing
It's gonna
good
be a
there.
lot of practice.
But you're smart though. I mean, the least movement is
Yeah.
here
Right.
versus,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to aim at the
yeah.
thing that's doing this. I want to aim at the base,
Right.
right there. And if I can get
never
that,
quit moving that head.
No.
yeah, that's definitely. It's I've heard a lot of people have doubted me when I said I want to take my first turkey.
My
with
main
the-
thing
with the
was
bow.
is I had a hard enough time starting out with a shotgun.
Oh, it's
So
not just you
shotgun
guys.
is hard
It's
to
not
go.
just you two. It's everybody that's ever harvested a turkey has told me you are choosing the worst way to go about this.
But it'll be extremely fulfilling.
Yes.
That it will.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun, and
Yeah.
the challenge is going to be. I might like this more than deer hunting, and that says a lot. A lot.
Oh, I love turkey hunting.
I've tried to explain it to him. It's a completely different thrill.
Yeah.
Completely different. It's way more interactive.
Oh.
Like you can call a deer, but you're not going to call a deer like you do a turkey.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Poor man's elk hunting.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I heard. Yeah, poor man's elk hunting.
If you pull it off, I mean, you're looking. What is the percentage of hunters that's ever done that? Not very high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It would be cool, and that's I like to give myself the most challenge. I went 6 years without harvesting a buck just because I refused to hunt over food.
Yep.
And it taught me more. I didn't harvest anything for 6 years, but it taught me more about the woods than I ever would imagine.
Sure.
And then now, where I'm on a place where I could utilize food, it's that much not easier, but it's that much finding the patterns are a little easier.
Sure.
On deer. Yeah, I'm excited to go after the turkey though. I am pumped. I can't,
Once you do it, you will be hooked.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
Guarantee it.
We talked about it there. Some of us, and maybe I did a post on it, but turkey hunting can be one, people reference it to like golf and stuff, but it can be one of the most frustrating of how can a pea-sized
Yeah.
brained animal be
Yeah.
so frustrating?
That's been some of the most frustrating hunts I've ever had. Get one hung up at 50
Yeah.
yards, and you're just like, come on, let's
Yeah.
go. And
Finish-
he just
finish
decides
coming.
to
Yeah.
see you later.
All it takes is a hen and it's game over.
Yeah.
Don't even take that sometimes.
Well, like
Yeah.
I explained it. If I'm just going to measure my success and opportunities that I have. So if I have one opportunity, it's a successful
I think
season.
that's a good
Even
way
if
to
I
look
drew
at it.
my bow, I just need the opportunity.
Well, and what you'll find too, though, is it's crazy that you can go and hunt. You talk about like your deer hunting, you hunted
Yeah.
it day after day after day. even with a turkey, you can go into an area and hunt it, and you'll feel like the birds aren't responding or it's just not going your way. And then all of a sudden another day, they're on fire or it comes in on a string. And it was like, why wasn't it this easy every other time?
Right.
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 It's like where I showed you that video where I shot that one day before. Me and my buddy Austin were out there. Dead silence, not a thing. I literally shot that bird from the same tree the next morning.
Yeah.
Came in on a string right off the bat.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
My best luck's always been with the hoot owl call. Boy, they don't like that at all.
Locator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Shot gobble.
I don't know. I've started roosting them and using a coyote howler. It's kind of been a secret trick lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I'm so green. I don't even know what any of this means. like,
I got you.
Turkeys
Yeah.
do not like hoot owls.
They don't like
No.
you.
No, they'll kill
Not
'em.
one bit.
Nice.
They're natural enemies.
So I'm gonna go out in a hoot owl costume. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like he was saying, what you're doing is when you hit the call, it's a shock gobble because they're like, "Get out of here!" kind
Oh,
of
I
thing.
got you.
It's a
Okay.
response.
Yeah,
Alright.
and if you make them mad enough, they'll come in.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's just the way I
Locator calls, like crow, hawk,
Mm-hmm.
owl, coyote.
And
Thunder.
they'll call back.
Oh,
to
yeah.
you.
Door
I've
shutting.
seen a
Thunder,
guy take a piece of 10 and it worked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
I've always
yeah.
heard that thunder chickens.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's where that comes from.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. I gotta shift my mind off deer. It's just
I
so
mean-
hard. So hard. I'm waiting for sheds to drop.
I mean, you're excited for that. I mean, I think we're all excited to have Chris here.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
Extremely, man. First guest. We're
Thank ya.
shooting big.
Yeah,
Shooting big.
yeah,
Yeah.
This is awesome.
for sure.
I'm so thankful for you to be here.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. It's awesome.
We have a ton to talk about, I think. I think you were the man to talk to about a lot of the stuff, especially the questions we have for setting up for the next year.
Okay.
Building, after what happened to us,
Oh, yeah.
building up some stout DNA and bucks. You're the guy.
I am one of the guys.
Guys.
We're all in this, that got heavily, especially impacted with the EHD.
Yeah.
A lot of these counties, and a lot of us are all dealing with the same thing of, you brought it up, of how do we react to it now?
Yeah.
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 That is a question. I mean, do you go out there and try to get your tag next year, fill it, and do you give them time?
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know if I should be hunting them next year or not.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is, are we going to go over? Are we going to get the same thing next year too?
Well, and that's one of my concerns is, and I figured it was in the direction that you were talking about as well, is I think that one of the big things we've learned is how susceptible we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think a big thing that a lot of people started focusing on, and I think if we want to make sure and try to prevent where we can, it's really focusing on some of our water sources.
Yeah.
Whether it's taking advantage of trying to make sure it's cleaner or
Yeah.
that there's less sludge, that we have less exposed mud or dirt. I think those are all things that people are going to have to start thinking about to try to minimize the potential for having that same kind of impact that we experienced already.
Yeah. And my understanding is, so in the drought, it exposes mud, right?
Yeah.
And that's where these midges live.
Yeah.
And
And-
that's what starts all this stuff.
Yeah, typically. Now that's where we talk about that this year was like a perfect storm. So we ended up, if I remember right, we got heavy rain to begin with, let's say.
Yeah.
So what you end up doing was, or maybe it was the drought first, but let's say it was the drought first. So we end up getting the water level receding. So it's exposing all that wet mud, which again, that combined with heat, humidity is perfect for them to be able to lay their eggs, which again, already some of them are already in the ground right now. Then they hatch, and then that just is perfect for them to go ahead and have all that feeding area and ground. They come out, and then of course they're laying the eggs and repopulating and stuff. But it's giving them that exposed wet mud of where it really flourishes and
Yeah.
thrives. However, what then ended up happening was we got a lot of rain. So then now we got water standing in all these different areas that we
It
weren't used to.
spreads.
Yeah. So now we got water pools of stagnant water everywhere, then followed with a drought again. So what happens? Now all these new freshly created pools are receding, exposing wet mud. And then it was just, like I said, a perfect storm
Yeah.
of,
Pretty much
having
already
it.
getting instantly infected by the
Yeah.
midges at that point.
I wonder if the extreme cold that we've had the past 2 weeks would help kind of kill some of them off.
It's supposed to, but I'm sure it's one of those as well that there's it's kind of like mosquitoes, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some survival and there's always going to be move in. And I know we were talking about it with, Sean there with Longspur that, some of it that believed is that some of it will move in with some of your wind. And so as they get up into the higher areas of travel or wind speeds, that they can get carried and moved in from other areas. And so the wind currents can actually move them in from other locations. They come down through, and that's how some of it can actually be spread, especially if some get up in that are infected and then move it through. But the newest thing that I know that we talked about was that they believe they have information that shows that the infection can actually be carried through their eggs. So it's not actually requiring them to bite an infected animal in the next coming year. Those that hatch can already be infected from those that laid the eggs the previous year, let's say.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So they've been able to follow and test, is my understanding, that there was already pre-infection from ones carrying over from the parents, kind of
wow.
thing.
This is a lot deeper than what it looks like. Some
Yeah.
people from the outside looking in just thinks a bug flies in, bites a deer, and they
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in general, it doesn't even have to be a deer, an infected animal.
Right.
Carrying that virus.
Yeah. What can get EHD? Is it like what animals are susceptible to?
I can't say 100%. I know they talked about some stuff, and don't hold me to it. There's some other diseases that they're susceptible to, as whether it's like goats or sheep.
Okay.
They do talk about that. I believe like cattle can also get it, but typically,
So much
the
like-
impact that it has on them is not as severe as it is with like deer.
Right. And
So
would that be because farmers take care of their
I
animals? or would
can't
it be-
remember what the background is of why the deer are more susceptible compared to, let's say, as you mentioned, farm animals.
I got you. Okay.
But I do think that someone had mentioned that there might have been like, don't hold me to it, one confirmed case of a cow that had EHD.
I thought I saw something online about that.
Yeah.
I was like,
So
oh,
it's-
great. Now the cows.
Yeah, not the
Let's
cat.
say I'd say probably every hoofed, cervid, could be infected by it. 'Cause, I mean, they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might have to do something with the digestive tract as well.
Yeah.
I don't hold me to
It's
it.
a good possibility.
So with that, you were hit hard with EHD.
Yeah.
What's your 2026 roadmap on building your herd back?
Well, I mean, if anybody's been watching some of the stuff I've been doing, I'm doing a lot with like Sean and I are trying to do pretty much a study to where we're really trying to do heavy protein supplementing, minerals as well, so pretty much a deer nutritional program. And so with it, which we've been doing for years in our family anyways, just trying to help the herd, is doing a lot of high protein supplement, a lot of the minerals. And again, not just salt.
Right.
Not just salt licks, truly using good quality minerals and stuff, making sure you got the good, a friend and I were talking about it today, good calcium to phosphorus ratios, good levels of salt to where you still get the salt benefit. It still serves as an attractant, but you're not getting just 90-some% salt. I mean, don't get me wrong, especially in the spring, summer, when they're eating all that green, it has a lot of that moisture, that salt balance can get off, and they need that salt to maintain that balance. But the big thing is doing the protein supplementing. Also, too, we talked about it earlier. I love to do my food plots. So with that, again, I've got like my clover plots that I always will keep out year round. So they'll be one of the first things that green up. Again, that's benefiting the turkeys as well as the deer.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about water holes. So again, that is great attraction. And for me too, a large part that I'm doing right now is just habitat improvement. So like forest stand improvement, invasive removal. And then a buddy of mine right now, we're working through trying to see about doing some prescribed burn
Okay.
Oh, okay.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
again, all about trying to improve the habitat. But if you look at it holistically, and we were talking about it with shedding, is trying to put into things in place that helps reduce their stress. I don't want you to have to travel far for water. I don't want you to travel far for cover. I don't want you to travel far for food. So give them everything they need, and they should have everything that they want.
You're
Right.
building a deer oasis.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my question is, so I know we're talking about water holes and EHD and all that. Have you even once thought about, like, you've seen where some of these treatments for the water have came out to try to kill off that?
That was
Have
going to
you-
be my question. If you're putting water holes in, how do you keep that from a breeding ground for the midges?
Well, and I mean, I know, one company in particular was like EH Defense.
Yeah.
And so I know that talking about maybe trying to team up with them.
That would be cool.
And the other thing is just in general, too, trying to maintain your water holes, try to have grasses growing up all the way to the edges, minimizing your exposed dirt or muddy areas. I've even contemplated, well, what if you go ahead and just put gravel up around the edges and stuff?
Yeah.
Some I know last year, even when they got concerned, they covered up their water holes completely. Wanted to make sure that they weren't even given an opportunity to be breeding grounds. But I think the big thing is like that. If you can do grasses and stuff or anything you do to minimize the amount of exposed mud, the gravel, the stone, any of those landscaping kinds of things possibly, or seek out a treatment like they talk about to minimize sludge. The idea with that and talking with a little bit with texting back and forth, I think it was, and talking with Sean, was their strategy is that you're trying to promote an aquatic environment that promotes competition for the midge. Example, like let's say frogs, salamanders, dragonflies.
Yeah.
And the idea being is that it then goes after that larva, those insects, and eats them. So by giving it good, healthy competition for them to thrive, but also to minimizing the environment that the midge would thrive. It wants stagnant, gunky, muddy, all that. But if you got good, clean, crystal clear kind of water that doesn't have all that, I'll say, biomass in it, those frogs, those salamanders and everything can help to try to minimize the midge.
That'd be a pretty big size watering hole then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's any size, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, you're just trying to make sure that it's the cleanest, purest water that it can be. And again, minimizing that exposed mud. But that's my understanding of their approach.
Okay.
I'd say the deeper the watering hole, the easier it'd be to keep the water clean.
I question that as well. I think a lot of times too, if your water is too shallow, if it's also out in the sunny area, you're going to have a tendency for it to want to heat up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to want to start growing those kinds of things and get to where you can get that kind of growth in it.
I wonder if little catfish would eat them.
Well, that was a mention too that some talked about of doing like grass carp or something like that, that something that's going and trying to clean. And I'm just making that one up as, again, a lot of times people use those in their ponds, but something that would go around and try to help maintain.
That's what we use in our pond. We have 2 or 3. Sorry, Dad, I can't remember. Giant grass carp.
Yeah.
And you see them, it's like it's cool because they're huge, and we have like I don't know, it's close to 3/4 acre size pond, and them things just eat they just eat around the edges, eat everything out of it. So I was wondering if maybe they'd help kind of mitigate that. It'd be worth trying.
Yeah.
Anything be worth trying.
Yeah. 'Cause I feel like EHD over the past couple of years is becoming more like 2017, I found a bunch, and then it was like 3 years, and then it was another batch, and then it was 2 years, and there was another batch.
Yeah.
Then we had deer in Daughters County die last year, and then this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's becoming more like
Prevalent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ritchie County was hit hard.
See, I didn't see that in
You
my
mean-
part, though.
You mean this past year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I didn't see nowhere near as bad of it as you all did. But I don't know. It just depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of water sources where I'm at. You got a few creeks running through. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky. Me personally, I didn't find one this year, but I found all of them last year.
the
So-
water near you is all moving
Yeah.
water.
Which is a huge,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Creeks.
Now, my question, so you were talking about Longspur and you're working on surveys and trying to figure out how your protein supplements and your minerals and everything are going to help. I mean, is there anything you're specifically looking at to see like what the benefit is? Like, what are you looking for as
so
a
like,
benefit?
Sean, this past year has helped guide us through it kind of thing. So it was one of those, it's like weighing the deer. Was part of it. Of course, if it's a buck, you can go ahead and score the deer and everything.
Yeah.
But so he's doing a lot of stuff of just trying to do some physical kinds of things of whatever you can do to take information from it to say, are you really making an impact? I mean, I know for us as a short thing, my wall shows it.
Right.
Yeah.
When you go and you look, when I was younger and shooting deer, I remember like we were celebrating that we had a giant at 120, 121 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then, you take the same property now and this year I got that 156, and you put him up next to the others, and the mass that carries all the way through the tip of the tine.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to go main beam,
Right.
but it's another thing to go all the way through the tines that you sit there and you stand back and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
look at that mass.
My whole childhood, that was the stigma of hunting in West Virginia. Is you got pencil racks.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how it always
Mhm.
was here. Like, oh, you better go to Wayne National if you're from here to go kill a
Right.
big one. You know?
And I think a large part of that though too is in general, let's just say it's age.
Yeah.
You know, you can't beat age.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's like him. I'm going to expect at a minimum 4.5. He's probably 5.5 is my guess. But I can tell you though, with what we're doing, we can definitely see that even at the 2.5, the 3.5 years, they're better than they were when we were younger.
Right. And so I see the same thing, but in Doddridge County, and I don't know where like you're from and all that stuff up there, if they're as heavy with the pipelines and the oil and gas pads and stuff. I mentioned this on the last episode, I think. It seems like after they were coming through with the pads and so many right-of-ways, and they're planting wildlife, clover, it's a mile-long food plot.
Oh, yeah.
Miles.
Our best year, in my opinion, was the year after they put in the pipeline on us.
That's this coming year for me.
They had lush, and that was part of the request. It was like, hey, when you come through, we want clover.
Yeah.
And they put in the clover, and like you said, for us, we were fortunate that it was a long run, and deer just flat out pounded it. So you had my food plots, and you had the ginormous pipeline food plot.
Yeah.
And not to mention too, the benefit that we also got was when they put that pipeline through, that thinning, I'll say, or feathering, edge feathering practically on the edge, that got a lot of more light into the interior woods that was left. So you got some more undergrowth that came up through. So it did nothing but positive of having all that food out there for them. And like you said, from a food competition standpoint, it was a ginormous line of it. But, now it's kind of got overgrown a good bit by grass. I'm tempted myself to go back through and actually, where I can, spray and kill it out and go back in and clover again, because the clover content and the protein that comes out of it is just awesome.
I don't know who the original landowner was that changed it, kind of got the gas company to start planting that clover, but they made the right choice, because when I got started in pipeline, they were planting this fescue that the deer would not eat because it was tearing their stomachs up. And man, whoever's like, no, I want my whole right away clover. That was a smart man, because it's changed everything. That's almost a standard now for right of ways to be all clover. I don't even, before I quit pipeline, I can't remember one right away that once it was reclaimed wasn't clover. Just thick, luscious food
over your feet. I
mean,
it's growing to the point they hydro seed that stuff, so it gets deep. I often thought about going and frost seeding this spring over the right of way and just trying to regain some of that.
That's not a bad idea.
That fresh new growth.
That's a good way to do it.
All the amount of tree stands you'd see when you'd put another line on an existing right of way. Just you could see them over the hills. Just tree stands on
box
the side.
Blinds and everything. I've walked by probably 1,000 just last year.
I mean, it promotes natural movement as well, path of least resistance, grazing, browsing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to fight to get across anything.
Right. I have a pipeline, an old pipeline that's overgrown, real thick, autumn olives, everything. And that new pipeline cut it right down the middle. And at that point where it's like a corner, 4 corners, it's the best deer movement I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like the edge. They always say an edge animal, right? And that's the truth. If you actually put your time in and pay attention, they are edge animals and corners of pipelines. Transitions, yes.
Yeah, but if you aren't thinking about frost seeding, I was going to do a video on it here soon. Pretty much end of this month and the beginning first half of this upcoming, would be a great time to go ahead and do it. I started looking again in our area for weather underground. You can go there, look at your historical weather conditions for previous years, see how many good freeze thaw cycles that you still have left.
Okay.
So pretty much looking into February to the middle of March is really in our area.
I think
we're in a good place for it too.
yeah, for sure. The
We're-
one time I did frost seed, it was the middle of March, and it was the best. It was the best clover plot I've ever seen. After that coming spring, once it started to warm up and grow, it took off.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I think probably what I'm going to be looking for this year to see any benefits that, I mean, I've caused or anything like that, and you probably see a lot more, is I'd probably look at the amount of fawns we have this year
Oh, for sure.
and see how that is. I think that'd give you a good,
Yeah.
kind of a good number and see how deer
Yeah.
are bouncing back.
I think we're gonna have
from
a lot of
everything.
twins this year.
Oh,
If the Mother Nature responds in a way typically to something like this, and they recognize, the abundance of food that their bodies can handle it, generally throw twins or triplets.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised to see more this year in our areas that were heavily impacted by EHD, assuming that the deer that survived are still healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
If their bodies are throwing off saying, hey, I'm not fully recovered or I'm not healthy,
Right.
Mother Nature might sit there and say, you can't handle the load.
I mean, I think that'd be a good way to see if they'd say if your deer herd is healthy or not still is look at the amount of fawns that there is this year.
Oh yeah. There's always tell-alls, that you can see yourself. I
Yeah.
feel like I have a couple properties that we've managed, my family land we've managed for a couple years, and that is night and day compared to when we got it till now. Just the amount of deer and the health and the size, and the only thing I can't get people to understand is doe management. Could you explain maybe a little bit how important doe management is to a property?
Well, I know it's a balance, and that's what we've even struggled with. You get that argument of you don't want a doe factory.
Yeah.
But then you get the argument of, well, yeah, but they're going to go where the does are. So it's a balance. But here's where my opinion is on that, I think, is that I really started hammering some does in what would have been 2024. Because here's the example. Last year in my one food plot there in Wood County, it was an acre and a half food plot. I had 30 deer in that food plot one night. And do you know how many of those deer had antlers?
Probably one.
I'm going to
maybe
go ahead
two.
and say 2.
None.
None.
I never had one deer that had antlers. So, don't get me wrong. I mean, there was other nights that I had, 3, 4, or 5 bucks that were in there, but that night I had 30 deer. It was late season, 30 deer, no antlers. So it was like, guys, we've got way too many doe. And from friends and I talk about it, if you remember, at least for us, there used to be like crazy ruts.
Yeah.
You would sit there and there's all this grunt and all this chase and all this activity, 3, 4, 5 bucks chasing a doe through. I don't really ever see that anymore.
No.
And I think,
That's something we were talking about the other day.
This past rut was boring.
well, now again, I take this year as a special cause with the EHD, kind of depending on where you are.
Yeah.
But for us, I take it as is. I don't have to look.
Right.
As soon as I break off of this one, there's another one standing right here.
Yeah.
And you and I aren't having to fight over that one because you've got another one standing right there.
Right.
So to me, I think the big thing is a couple things. And that's kind of what I'm really excited. I'll bring it back to the EHD. I'm excited for this year and the next coming years. I think we could see some giant bucks if people are smart.
Yeah.
That there is less competition for the food, which means the ones that are here have the best opportunity to get everything that they want, everything they need. And I think we could see that our bucks jump in size for reaching full potential. And I think we could see a lot better ruts because the does numbers being so low too, they're going to have to seek out more.
I think that's a historical thing because I've seen where that's been brought up. And you look at Iowa, whenever they're bad EHD years, the year following, a lot of big deer hit the ground. A lot.
Yeah. Well, that's just because, exactly like Chris just said, you take the stressful part of the food, they don't have to compete for food.
Yeah.
They have everything they need. And that's where I feel like, me personally, I have too much female social pressure where it's, we might see a couple bucks in a field by themselves or with a couple does, but when 12 does are out there, no bucks are. I don't know if that's something that's real, but female social pressure definitely seems to play a huge factor on my personal farms.
Yeah, and I think they'll show sometimes a lot of these doe families don't want to share
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I had it before when sitting over my food plots, like you said, and have two groups come in, and next thing you know, the one group is clearing the other one out.
Yeah. Up on
It's
their
like,
back
no,
legs.
yeah, this
and-
is my house, Kemosabe,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we'll push them out. So yeah, I think in short, you know, and I'll talk about recently here too. We just now had a law they were trying to get implemented on a antler point restriction. To me, my solution that I throw out is make every single county earn a second buck.
That would be awesome.
And so automatically it's one of those that you've got to take a doe. Again, don't get me wrong. There's going to be people that aren't going to follow the law and they're going to fake it with the electronic signature or the electronic check-in. But for the 90%, I'll use 90, law-abiding citizens, that's going to make a huge difference. You can still shoot whatever you want, but if you use that doe to knock that down and earn that second buck, you know, people are still getting whatever meat they want. I think what you're going to find is that you get the doe numbers down. We're going to have better ruts, better deer.
Yeah, I agree with the earn a buck.
That's a really good idea.
I've always liked
Well,
the earn a buck.
The
way.
thing is, I
like
think
that a lot.
that's really hard to do because you look in this state, look at how many hunting clubs there are that do not allow you to shoot a doe.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
crazy.
big
I feel like
thing,
that's
too.
personal rules, and if it's a
That is.
There's a
law,
lot
if it's a
of 'em.
law, you got to follow it. You know?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, don't have to shoot that second buck though.
that is true.
Right, of
That-
course.
but that's your choice.
Yeah,
So-
that club could sit there and say, hey, yeah, we're not going to follow that. So if
Yeah.
you go ahead and choose, which isn't a bad deal either because you've just turned it into Ohio.
Right. You got
Yeah.
Because most likely that club's going to sit there and be like, you're going to probably get one, well, you're going to get one on this
Yeah.
club because we're not going to allow you to shoot a doe.
Right.
I guess that's all. It all depends on where the club's at, habitat wise and herd wise as well. I mean, I feel like I don't know too many people that'd be like, nah, don't shoot that doe. You know,
Uh-huh.
unless you're way low on it with EHD and stuff
Yeah.
like that with the kill off. And
There's a lot of them that are around me, and that's why I'm not part of a hunting club because a lot of them you're not allowed to shoot a doe. Period. It's been like that for 10+ years. Not allowed to shoot a doe at all.
yeah, I mean, I've experienced that as well on some of my own family property. It's like it seems like some of the older time people, the older generation, you know, don't want to shoot does for some reason, and then half of them shoot anything they want. The other half are like as radical management as you can. You know, like you're either shooting everything or you're shooting nothing. You know.
Well, I think that's one reason why this kind of failed on the second buck was I heard a lot of stuff of, you know, oh, I don't want the government telling, which I don't go with the whole government conspiracy thing. So I won't even go there. But to me, it's like people were like, I want to be able to shoot whatever I want. I want to be able to shoot for meat. Well, that buck having an antler point restriction does not keep you from shooting a doe.
Yeah.
And you can still shoot the does that you want and stuff and get the meat that you want. So to me, that wasn't the answer. But I think to your comment, that's like me growing up. We used to shoot does growing up and then we got away from it. And it wasn't like I said until a couple years ago that I went and whatever I ended up doing that year, maxing out on the does that I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
yeah.
I got to where I was like, this is good as buck hunting.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, because I was doing a lot of, like you talked about,
Yeah.
run and gun. You know, I was doing a lot of run and gun, spot and stalk, trying to ease up. You know, it's funny that you sit there when you are hunting for a buck, there's like doe galore.
Yeah.
And then I went out doe hunting. I'm like, I can't hardly
Can't
get
find
on a
one.
doe.
Yeah, that is.
But
the
I
truth.
think that it's become that stigma that, you know, a lot of people, and I try to shoot trophy deer, but that's what you're focusing on. And a lot of people are like, a doe's not a trophy. But it is super fun to shoot a doe. And then, like I said, I think we need to, is what I'm appreciating, I think more is that I think we'll have a better rut. I think you'll have better bucks from just, again, the food competition standpoint if you take the doe numbers down. And to me, it's like one of the people I really follow and respect is Bill Winke.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sit there hearing some of the numbers of does that and don't quote me on this, but I think it was like he mentioned 30 or 40 doe on his property that he had been taking, maybe on the former one, not this current one. And he wasn't keeping up with it, I think.
Whoa.
So it's like, of course, he also had a lot of land,
Oh yeah.
but it's
out.
like, well, if we talk about what we were, of if they throw twins or triplets,
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
you
do.
know, it doesn't take too long before your population, you know, but you sit there and you realize, okay, that man kills a lot of big bucks and he knows a lot about managing deer. And he's sitting there going, folks, if I'm taking one buck, I need to be at least taking one doe if I at least want to try to keep the ratio the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a picture I saw on Facebook yesterday. It was a map of the country, and our area was circled in red. Of course, every other area had their own label, but ours was the can't eat the antlers people. And I was like, man, that hits hard because I've said that 1,000 times. I've said it in here to them guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're talking about hunting. I'm like, I really just want deer jerky.
I've said many a times I'm not against shooting a slick head.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not against it.
I'm all about that. That's fun. It's
But-
fun stuff.
I don't know. Chris mentioned having some trophy deer. I think you had some success on that this
Yeah, I
past
wanna
year.
hear about
for
this.
sure.
Yeah, this is what we're all here for.
Megatron.
That's why we're here.
Story of Megatron.
Well, I mean, the short of it is we all know we're very blessed and fortunate. I was as well this year to be able to even hunt the animal. But yeah, so the story on Megatron is a deer that, to my knowledge, I had no history on this deer. I end up getting a trail cam, series of trail cam photos on him hitting a couple scrapes, and it was one of those. Immediately, it was like, this is a buck. This is an Ohio buck in West Virginia. And so anyway, I tried to be really smart about it, just really trying to use the intel with the cameras, try to be smart with my hunting, always trying to pay attention to my wind, my access. My dad kind of gets frustrated with me when it was like, hey, I can't go hunt my food plot, or I can't go hunt this stand. The wind's not right. I was like, the wind's never, no, can't do it,
Yep.
especially on a deer like this. I can't risk it. But anyways, I started picking him up on some various cameras, hunting fringes and stuff. And then I started feeling the pressure of gun season approaching that was going to be, and I forget whether it was like a week and a half or 2 weeks away, which sounds like not a big deal, but
It is.
it comes quick.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I started focusing on what can I use to locate or pattern this deer? Because I don't hunt over bait. So that wasn't something that I was going to do. So I started focusing on water. Food I couldn't focus on because I assumed like you guys, but I did hear it was patchy. Acorns were everywhere.
Mass,
yeah.
mass
It
was
was
crazy.
Yeah.
crazy. It was crazy.
So it was like I can't focus on that. You could be literally under any other tree.
Exactly.
So initially, I put a camera on a water hole that I knew of. And when I say water hole, it was a mud hole, ruts in a four-wheeler trail. And I think it was that evening, boom, I got his photo. And I'm like, all right, I was right. This is where I thought he would be. It's the only really practical water in the area. Because it goes back to what we were saying about the drought, I think, early. And then it rained like the next day or two. And I was like, well, now my whole thing's shot because there's water everywhere now again. So anyways, again, I still kept hunting scrapes and fringes. I know I heard him at least one or two times grunting and on does in some thickets around me. And then one day I did see him go running a doe in a thicket next to me. And so eventually I'm like, okay, I can't get in and out clean where I think he's staying. And pretty much from my cameras and my very few sightings and stuff, he wasn't in a very big area. It was very shocking of how small he was actually staying. So I end up going over to another area that I thought I could get in and out, and a good chance that he might have been frequenting. Again, nice, big, thick area. And I did a video, talking about it, but I did some speed scouting real quick, and I ended up finding a spot that had, I don't know, 7, 10, 13 rubs in a matter of just like a 10, 20 yard circle. And I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm like, okay, they're in and they're out, going through a trail that's going in, a big scrape. And I'm like, this isn't a spike making this. This is a mature deer of what I've seen before. I think this is him. And so then I again was like, okay, it's too low in this bottom. I can't hunt it. The wind would just sink in here, swirl. Let me go up where I know there's some bedding. Let me see if I can find some more sign. And I found this like abandoned old logging road that had 3 consecutive scrapes on it. And I thought, well, I know there's doe bedding back here. I know that bedding of his is down there, I believe. And here's some scrapes. If I'm going to hunt anything, I'm going to hunt scrapes. So I hung a camera, and that afternoon or evening, I got him on camera hitting that scrape. And I thought, okay, I was right. Okay. So I went in and hung a stand and pretty much had a bulletproof set for almost any wind. And I hunted kind of like you were talking. I hunted for a few days straight, all day. And it was when we had that big snowstorm and everything. I sat through it for a couple days straight. And then the third day, I did everything but like an hour. I think it took a few days off from that area. And then, anyways, by the time the weekend came, I ended up going in and scouting a little bit in what I thought was another primary area where I'd been seeing him, but I thought I might have bumped him. So my plan was to go in to the other location the next morning thinking he might be over there. So I went in there. Well, lo and behold, I could hear him first thing at daylight grunting and running a doe back where I thought I might have bumped him out. And then, you guys probably saw it shortly after. A doe came running up by me and, had that look of just, there's something behind me and I need to get away. And she went up into the bedding up above me. And then I was just and it was super windy that day. And I was kind of just sitting there chilling. And next thing I know, I hear something. I look and he's at that scrape in front of my camera that I can't shoot. And then he kind of angled down through the brush and never gave me a shot. And so he went down in the bottom and a little bit, I think it was 2 does and a fawn came up. And I thought, oh, I'll be behind him. And he wasn't. And they came up through. And then all I thought is I'm just praying that he finds that doe that went up in the bedding. And again, I'm kind of sitting there, and I hear something and I look and she is full sprint coming down the logging road right under me. And he's right behind her. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm yelling. And here comes another buck, kind of like what we had talked about. Here comes another little buck with them and they go down and I had yelled. I was yelling and they stopped. And I thought, she's going to be scared to death. She's just going to take off running because I've just blown this. And they go down and ease just over the bank and stand there for a little bit. And he kind of walks over to her just for a second there and walks back over and plops down. And so he bedded down at I think it was 48 yards is what I ranged him at. But it was through brush and stuff to where I didn't feel like I could get a shot. So he laid there and she bedded down for a couple hours. And so that was at 8:30. And the long story short was from 8:30 till 4:30 that evening, they stayed in sight the entire time, getting up and bedding and moving around. And then right before, I don't know, hour or two before dark, she made it up to the logging road again because it was kind of bowl. And I don't know, it's kind of like you sat there and I was watching her kind of figure out which way she was going to go. And I'm kind of sitting there praying, going, no, yes, right there, And so she starts walking my way and I thought, this is going to happen. And at that point now, another buck had joined up, a small 8. So there was the big one, Megatron, I call him, another 8 and a small buck. Well, the big one gave it too much of a gap between the doe and the 8 thought he had a chance. And he came off running. Well, then the big one came running. And they all go running under my tree stand again and go by me. I couldn't get them stopped again. He went behind me through an opening. She went under me again. And they went back down to the same spot they were. And eventually there, right before dark, they came up by through. And I thought, I've tried to stop him 2 different times. I've never got the shot. I'm going to go ahead and shoot him walking. And when he hit my first opening, I took a shot. My arrow was deflected. And he just stopped and was kind of like, and she kind of turned back and looked at him. And I think he's kind of like, what? And so she's like, oh, okay. And they just turn and just start walking again. And so I knocked another arrow. And when he hit the last opening, right before he stepped out of it, I shot. And I didn't know it, but I deflected again. And I end up center punching him. And so he takes off running, but my eyes saw I just double lunged him or at least one lung and gut exit with quartering. And I'm thinking I smoked him. So immediately for me, I had been standing the entire day and I hadn't ate. So I let him go and I start eating my sandwich as fast as I can, starving. And I get down and start checking the blood and I find acorn matter.
Oh no.
And then the blood that wasn't double lung, that wasn't lung. And I'm like, okay, I'm not shocked on the gut because if I quartered, I probably exited it. But this blood's telling me it isn't lung. I'm not seeing the color and I'm not seeing the bubbles.
So you're getting more like darker blood, like nasty,
like liver.
coagulated.
Yeah, it was liver is what I was believing I was seeing. And so I maybe only went, I don't know, 60, 80 yards. And it was getting ready to crest a hill. And I thought, it ain't worth the risk. Mm-mm. So I backed out, went and got cell service. First thing I did is call my buddy Sean with Long Spur Tracking. And I said, Sean, give me a drone. I don't even want a dog right now. I want a drone because for all I know, if we walk over this hill and bump him with a dog.
Yeah.
And I said, Sean, he might even be dead laying right here. And so he had Cadrick get a hold of me. And immediately, Cadrick was with me, was really cool about it. And it was really neat. So we went out. Cadrick set up his drone. It was kind of facing his truck. And he flew it up. And as soon as he turned to the property, I'm like, what's that? And so we went over and hovered down on him, and you could see he was bedded.
Wow.
And then of course in the interim, I'd also went and reviewed my footage and saw a friend pointed out, was like, hey, you deflected on a limb and you center punched him. I was like, well, okay, that's confirming what I thought. Excuse me. I got liver and I got gut. And so anyways, that's when we knew we needed to give him time. And it'd have been 4 hours. So, anyways, we got down on him and he was still alive, and he tried to get up and he fell down. So we were like, hey, get it up out of there. So we raised it up out, and then he's like, "You're sure that's him?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him."
He's like, "What other 156?"
Did you see his rack? And I was like, and I mean, with the quality of their drones and stuff, I'm like, look, you could see the blood on the ground and on his side.
Right.
So we did like a scan. He's like, let's do just for due diligence. Let's do a quick scan real quick here. And it was like just maybe 2-3 minutes. We went back over him, and on thermal, you could see more of a side posture. And I'm like, that deer's on its side. And so he's like, well, let me go down and I'll kick it on. And so he went down, and boom, sure enough, he was laying on his side dead.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
So literally the last little surge was it. And so, I talked on that video that where I did the speed scouting and where I thought his bed was, he died within probably 20, 30 yards of it.
So you're saying he knew he was hurt and he was trying to get back home.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you were in the bedroom.
So I felt that it told me that I read all the sign right. And so it's kind of like talking about where you were talking about turkey hunting. To me, that was the most fulfilling of that harvest, of how I felt that I did it, by using the sign. And you talk about it, getting on the live action at that moment sign that says this is where an animal is, and being able to make the harvest. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, luck and fortunate on things working out played in my side to be able to harvest him.
I couldn't imagine spending a whole day. You said,
oh yeah, it was
from
a whole
8
day.
to 4.
8
you
to 4:30.
had that, your bedding
8:30 to 4:30.
Yeah,
That's a long day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The drone thing is amazing. What they're doing now.
I mean, the crazy part is you're saying a lot of it's luck and everything, but if I've looked right, you've put a lot of work into it.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's not all just luck.
No. What I'm saying is there's, with any hunt, there's a portion of luck.
There's
We all do what we can to minimize luck, maximize opportunity.
yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the story alone, the fact that you were able to draw back, shoot, and the arrow deflected, didn't hit him, and then you were able to get a follow-up shot.
Yeah.
That's incredible anyway.
That is the luck.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
That is the luck.
That's the
Oh,
luck
yeah.
part. Yeah, you were in the right spot if
I
he was
mean-
bedded with you for the whole day.
And that's what literally I started, and people might think it's funny. I was sitting in the stand laughing at times,
Yeah.
like practically laughing out loud. And again, don't get me wrong. I mean, some people will say that's not a giant, and I understand it's not a 180 inch, it's not a 200 inch, but to me,
a
it
giant
was
thing.
Yeah.
to me, it was a stud.
Yeah.
That I'm literally sitting there laughing, going, I got a 156 inch deer at 48 yards, and I can't shoot him.
Right.
And he's been here for how many hours? And I've worked so hard to try to do everything so right to have this moment right here. It was, like I said, I was laughing just because it was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is
awesome.
crazy.
I don't know many hunters that would probably have spent a whole day with their target buck before harvesting them.
Yeah.
Like, you guys got to know each other pretty well before.
Oh, and it was really neat to watch him. So here was it to me. So we talk about, seeing the rut, the chase, and we all get into, and I won't say the October lull, but lockdown,
Yeah.
right? Let's talk lockdown. and you sit there and go, how did it go from 60 miles an hour to 0?
Right.
And to me, it showed right there that day, again, another reflection reminder that was like, I end up having 3 or 4 bucks locked down with one doe within I don't know, an acre and a half area.
And she didn't leave that acre and a half.
Right. That's my point. So for an entire daylight period of a day, none of those deer after 8:30 stepped out of that. That's how in lockdown it can go to being dead, and how you think, how can all these bucks be gone? Because again, these does just can pull so many of them at a single time that it just holds them.
Yeah.
They're just not traveling.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was telling him a story. I missed a deer that would be my biggest buck doing the same thing.
Well, and again, it was one of those too, that when you go back and you look and you see the limbs, and a lot of those beach limbs, you struggle to be able to see.
Yeah, you can't see.
Yeah.
Especially at full draw looking through a peep.
Honestly,
You
I
know?
think it's less embarrassing to miss with a bow than it is a rifle.
Oh yeah.
You miss with
Yeah.
a rifle where you're like, no, I can never tell anyone what has just happened.
Well, but here's where I'm at. That's like some people, I mean, I'll be honest. I missed a Jake in Kansas a couple years ago that was at like 20 yards, but you mentioned it about TSS. Yeah. But also at 20 yards, even with the 12 gauge at TSS, I'm shooting a baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
And, whether I pulled it a little bit or he head bobbed or what, I say the same thing with bow hunting, rifle hunting, shotgun hunting. If you hunt enough, you will miss.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just part of it. And sometimes it really hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, a big part of it's practice too. I mean, you gotta
For
get
sure.
comfortable with
Yeah.
what you're using.
And that's
Kind of a perk of the job here, I think, with the bow. We kind of got like an unwritten rule. If you get stressed out, we call it a desk pop. You just we all have a bow here on
Yeah.
the back wall. You just pop the door open, and you saw the hog on the hill we have there. We call him Pumbaa. And you just stand there at the door or outside of it and let 1 or 2 or 3 loose, depending on how mad you are. And
I like it.
everything's
a
all
little
better.
stress reliever.
I don't
Yeah.
know for the target aim for Justin's arrows.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
keep fletching in this place.
It is just an awful competition. There's fletching all over. When I go to mow this spring, it's just going to be
colorful
Rainbows.
plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, rainbows everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no arrows left.
No, he literally has no
have
arrows
none.
left.
I have turkey arrows, and I was like, boys, don't shoot these.
Yeah.
These are
I mean,
specific.
so you're a big bow hunter.
Yeah.
What all have you taken with a bow?
Well, we'll start small and go up.
Oh, I like that.
Squirrel. So my wife, real quick on that story. My wife challenged me one day. We had a kid. We had my son. And I was wanting her to watch him so that I could go see about getting a squirrel with my bow. And she made me take him. And I was like, challenge accepted. So I threw him in a backpack carrier. So I ended up shooting my first squirrel with him in my backpack carrier.
That's a whole new
while I had
achievement.
it on. But no, so squirrel, groundhog, fox, coyote, turkey, antelope, white-tailed deer, black bear, elk, bison. I think that's groundhog.
You got groundhog.
Yeah.
You shot a fox with a bow.
That's awesome.
That
That's
is
hard.
And coyote.
that's top tier right there, shooting a
Yeah, a
fox.
couple coyotes also.
I almost had my first coyote this year, opening day.
Yeah, I
I
missed,
Okay.
almost did.
I missed one 5 times. He would not hold still.
Yeah.
I was letting 280 rip. It just was not happening.
Mine was opening day bow season. He just wouldn't come up to the next flat. I just needed him 20 more yards, and he was cooked.
I
He would
don't
not
care
do-
how far they are. I'm slinging an arrow at
Oh,
them.
yeah.
yeah.
Now I saw a picture. You sent me a picture of that bison. That
Yeah.
thing is incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
That is massive. I had never even thought that I wanted to kill a bison. I saw a picture. I was like, "Oh, I need that."
Bucket list.
Whole new respect.
Oh, I bet.
I was gonna say out of all those, what was the most challenging?
Mm.
How is it not?
Oh,
the
did I
fox?
also say antelope?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most challenging. I'm going to probably say I was going to say the elk. And it wasn't the challenging of the shot. Well,
I was gonna say,
my
well-
shot was, I think, 60 yards with the elk. But it was getting the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I know that I came close a few years. That was the first time I drew on the elk, was the first time I shot the elk.
What state?
Colorado.
Okay. Awesome.
Do it yourself. Yeah, we did. I did a first year with an outfitter with a gun and got an elk and a mule deer. And I'm like, I don't need an outfitter for this. I can do this. And so I went 3 more years, do it yourself. And the one area I went, that second year I went first as a do it yourself, I came pretty close there. I mean, I had some real close calls. And then I had another opportunity a little bit later that a friend kind of posed me that I should have shot one, and he blew it for me. And then the last year, I'm just being honest.
I mean, did you ever forgive him?
No.
All right, so you're not friends. I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, we don't hunt with each other anymore. So then the last one, it's kind of cool. So me and another guy went and got him an elk on the second day. We had an elk that was in a pocket of brush surrounded by field, and we were on both sides of that pocket of brush. And it was like, who's it going to pop out for? Because I saw it pop out on my side just ahead, and I gave him the, hey, legal, And so it popped out on his side, and he shot it. And then we ended up going ahead, rushing up with the herd, and came real close. He was all celebrating, texting about his when I had the whole herd coming down to his calls, and he wasn't watching. And they're sitting there just staring at him as he's texting, and they blew out. But anyways, long story short is I end up hunting on his carcass a few days later, and I'd built a brush blind, and I shot a color phase black bear out of my ground brush blind that I built
That's
at
crazy.
like 12 yards.
Nice.
That's
12
crazy.
yards.
Yeah.
Ooh, my.
That is sweet.
And then I blew through that bear. And so by the end of the week, everyone on the mountain had left. And I was up on the mountain by myself. And it was only me and the one guy, but the others that were there was other camps that were there. They went ahead and checked out. A lot of people, I think, put so much pressure, they'd pushed all the elk out. So I ended up having like a day or two of nobody there. So I told him, I said, all these past years I burned out. I was doing probably like 10 to 12 miles a day hiking Colorado, which doesn't sound a lot until you're hiking Colorado.
Yeah.
Then I said, I'm going to go back up, try to find my arrow from my bear, and just do some hunting this morning. I'll call my wife. I'll have cell service up there, and I'll talk about, we're going to leave a half a day early instead of leaving a day or two early. And so I went up, found my arrow, and I'd made some calls, and I just got done making a call, just some cow calls, and called her real quick. And I'm like, hey, just letting you know, I found my arrow and stuff. We're getting ready to pack up here in a little bit. And all of a sudden, yeah, and I'm like, I got to go. And as soon as I could get back up against the brush, he steps out and he comes down walking into this bottom. And I was kind of up on the other side. So when he walks down in, he's down in that bottom now. And I ranged him real quick going behind some brush, and he stepped out, and I'd ranged him, like I said, around 60 yards or so. And he's sitting there. I think he maybe bugled one more time. And I'm like in the open other than my back. And I'm like, I can't do nothing. And so he turned to go away, and I thought, it's been 3 years. This is now or never. I practiced out to 70. I can make this shot. And so I just, and drew back and let it fly. Well, whenever it hit and he kind of whirled and went away, I thought, did I just hit him in the butt? Like I felt like I hit him in the hind quarter, like when he spun, that he spun into it. Well, anyways, long story short, I end up, I think, pretty much hitting him high lung. But it was crazy. He ran off. I was just so upset at the time. I grabbed my phone to immediately call my wife, and I couldn't dial. I don't know if you guys have been there with the deer or turkey or whatever. I'm like, come on now. And so I had to get my collection, get collected or whatever. And anyways, I call her. I'm like, I just shot one, but don't tell anyone yet. I got to see what's going on. And I went down, and there was just like blood everywhere. And so I stopped. And at noon, my buddy was supposed to reach out and talk with me. He calls, and he's like, hey, what's your plan? I said, I just shot a bull, man. I said, I shot him a couple of hours ago, but I've stopped. I want to give him some time. And so anyways, there was a whole fiasco of us being out of gas and him trying to have to go get gas. While he's coasting into town, literally trying to get gas, he meets some bear hunters that let him siphon fuel out of their 4-wheeler to put into the truck to get to the next town to get gas. Well, they want to bear hunt off my carcass, so they volunteer to come look for it
Oh,
with
that's
us.
cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we start looking for it, and we're about to give up. And you could tell they're like, "Hey, we gotta go." And so I kind of storm off by myself, pouting. And a little bit, my buddy yells for me. He's like, "Chris, where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm over here." And I know what it was going to happen, you know. And so he comes up, heading my way. I can tell he's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm over here." And then all of a sudden, just in like a minute, it changed. He goes, "Chris," and I'm like, that was a different kind of Chris, you know. I'm like, don't you? He's like, "Come here," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And on his way to walk to tell me, "Dude, we need to go home. We're not going to find him." He walked up on him bedded dead.
Oh man.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it was kind of neat. We end up, again, public land.
Yeah.
But we end up packing him out that night. Full moon. We end up getting him out, I think, at 2 a.m.
Wow.
And the people that we went, there was a processor nearby, was just super awesome. They had already taken my bear and stuff and held it for me for the week. And they were like, "Call us anytime, 24/7. So I called him, and he's like, "Hey, me and the wife will get up right now. We'll make a pot of coffee, get here, and we'll get it processed for you tonight. And what's your plans?" I said, "Well, we wanted to leave by like 7 or 8. He goes, "Give me till 9,
Wow.
and I'll get a good chill for you." And so 9 o'clock, we dropped it off at 2, got back to camp, I think 3 or 4, back at their place by 9. It was all done, frozen, practically, a good quick frost on it, and started driving 30 some hours back to West Virginia.
Wow, that's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you had all the highs and all the lows in that trip.
Oh,
An
Yeah.
experience is
Yeah.
what that sounds
Yeah,
like.
to come back and just collapse and exhausted.
Oh.
Just too much emotional range
Sleep for
happening.
4 days
Well,
afterwards.
And it was crazy that like I had all this blood and I stopped. And when I talked with him on the phone, I'm like, "Dude, yeah, there's still tons of blood." I took 2 or 3 more steps, and there was like pools this big, and then no blood.
Just nothing.
As soon as I got done with him and I took a few more steps, nothing. And I end up going, and with any kind of tracking, you're looking for everything. Okay, if they brush up, and I was looking on the backside of leaves, and boom, I found a little spot. And anyways, I went and got in and found his bed. And in that bed, that's where I confirmed where I'd hit, that I could see that, okay, I hit high lung,
Yeah.
but it's going inside the cavity. It's not coming out because I shot from high point down.
Yeah.
So
he's
I was
filling
like,
up,
yeah.
not pouring out.
So we had to body search. So even then I'm thinking, oh, I'm on a blood trail that Ray Charles could follow.
right.
And then all of a sudden it's gone just like that.
Disappears.
Yeah.
That'll
Always.
throw you for a loop.
I always thought on those lung shots that when you had a break in a blood trail, they were trying to breathe in deep, and that blood's staying in them. That's what I never really told anybody. That was the thought I had, because I'd shot an 8-point in Wetzel County one time, and I double lugged him with a 30-06, and that's exactly what happened. I could see him, he's spurting blood,
Mhm.
and he tried to breathe deep, and there's no blood. I thought, okay, I'll have to remember that.
Well, and of course, when you do see the spray, you know what's going on with
Oh,
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always heard that they'll live forever on that last breath. They'll run forever on that last breath.
they get that shot of adrenaline, just pump it out.
Yeah,
And
that's the
that's-
tough part.
That's why with like even Megatron, I'm like, I don't want to bump him off the property.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, going back to that, that's a true to let a 156 sit and go back to the house and let it, that takes a lot of restraint to not keep following that blood trail.
Well, I mean, fortunately, like with Sean and stuff, for me, here's where I'm at. We all have it. You guys all have your text groups and stuff, and
Yeah.
those that you rely on. And it's one of those that the mind knows what you should do, but yet the heart and the mind also is sitting there going, let's go get him. What's going to happen to the unknown kind of thing. But, I've done in the past years before where I had a real nice deer that I bumped him twice because it started raining and I got panicked, and I'm like, I got to get on this deer. It was Halloween, and I got to hurry up and get home for trick or treat for the kids as well. And I bumped him twice, and it was after the second time that I'm like, I'm done. I've got to back out. And I did find him later completely away from where I'd last bumped him. But, they'll tell you, it's the same strategy. If he's dead in 2 hours, he'll be dead in 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but he'll be there and he'll be dead. And Sean talks about it as well, too. You know, a lot of the times it's like, if you give them time and you don't bump them, they'll be dead in their first bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the truth too. And, sometimes it's tough not following that blood trail, but if you can keep yourself, you know, the adrenaline, if you can talk yourself out of it, you know, just you do what's right. That's all the difference.
It's real tough.
Unlike you, it ain't that tough for me because I'm partially colorblind. So
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to wait for help?
yeah, that 10-point I shot this year, I literally went down. I knew where my arrow was at. Like I knew I smoked him, but I went down, found my arrow, took pictures of blood and the arrow, and sent it to him. And I'm like, "What does this look like to you?"
Smoked.
Yeah. And yet at that point, I didn't even follow the blood because I cannot see it on brown leaves.
Okay.
So I literally just paid attention to where he ran, and I could see what was kicked up. So
Okay.
I can't track a deer traditionally.
Have you seen that app that I think it's Jay Gregory?
Yeah,
was
they're
promoting?
starting it. I'm hoping to see that works real well. That's going to be a possibility.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So you know how you can use like a black light on blood and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
it's almost an app that does
On your
that.
phone.
Oh, it
Oh,
does it through
wow.
the camera?
Yeah.
So you can just look down and see it.
Yeah.
Oh,
If it's
wow.
legit, I mean, he was showing it and promoting it, and I don't know. I'm not tied to it or promoting it.
Right,
All,
right.
all I'm saying is that he was actively showing, I think it was him, pretty sure it was Jay Gregory, that he was showing that, again, you can put it down and it'll sit there and just burst and pop and show where you can see as you're walking through the leaves it on your screen actively. Yeah.
That's pretty
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
wow.
Doesn't Nebo have some sort of blood flashlight?
there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
and
There's
there's
even arrows with stuff on it to help you, you know, your shot,
Uh,
know where you
I've
hit the
never-
deer, all that
I,
stuff.
I just
I've
stick
never
with
used
lighted
that.
knock on that.
Yes. Yeah.
Lighted knock in a video
Yeah.
tells you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you have that footage to go back on, that's huge.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because we've all shot deer, not on video. And for me personally, I black out. I don't remember any deer like that from full draw and you're there, shot break. After that shot break, I have no clue. No idea. My knees start going. You know, you sit there, like, got to finally sit down and you got to catch yourself.
I
Yeah.
can't wait till turkey season. If you hit one, you're going to be like that Wick Bryan video.
Oh,
Is he
100%.
down?
Dude, I'm like that. I'm like that with anything. Yeah, I get worked up.
He's going to be like that the second he hears one gobble.
Yeah, we have a whole plan. He's going to call, and I'm going to be back filming it.
Okay.
I want to film it.
Yeah.
I got to see it.
Yeah, no pressure, right? No pressure from me.
I may have to mount it to a tree. I've thought about this because if I start laughing at videos, it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, it's going to be something different. I think it's just going to be an experience for you.
Yeah.
And
All I have to say about the video is if I do make it happen, there's going to be an awesome soundbite because that freak out is going to be sick. That's going to be awesome.
Justin's first cartwheel.
Yeah, at least in 20 years.
I'm telling you, it's awesome turkey hunting.
it's different.
Can't wait.
So one thing with turkey hunting I seen last year, and I don't know if you've seen it. Also, the amount of longbeards, 2-3-year-old birds, I didn't see them, but there was a lot of jakes last year, a lot of grouped up jakes.
Let's see. I did not see a lot of jakes last year, personally. I'll be honest, in West Virginia, I struggled to get on birds. Last year was the hardest season I've ever had in West Virginia hunting. I think, so the video last night, that one with the giant spurs,
Yeah.
that one happened because of a friend of mine that follows me or whatever, and is also friends growing up wrestling and everything. Ran into him at the gas station. I'm like, man, I am struggling. I tagged out in Ohio in no time. It was like daylight and dark. West Virginia, I couldn't get birds to respond. A lot of my bird numbers were down. You know, in normal properties that I'd have 2, 3, 4 birds that I'd be hunting across all those properties because a lot of them were adjoining. I had 1 bird.
Wow, you were complete opposite of me. I tagged out first 2 days in West Virginia and Ohio. Couldn't get on one. I tried all over Ohio. I was all the way from southeastern Ohio to central Ohio. Could not get it done.
Yeah, no, we struggled. It was crazy because I can't remember the sequence of it. So I remember with the boys in Ohio, Logan killed or tagged out first morning in Ohio in youth. Mason, I tagged him out the second day
That's all.
of youth. And then I end up going back a few days later and I tagged out in Ohio. And then I hunted my butt off until the next to last day of the West Virginia season when I ran into my buddy a day or two prior and he's like, hey, I'll let you hunt this place. And I went over and hunted it, and it was where all the birds were. There was probably 4, 5, 6 gobblers on that property,
Oh my.
and they were all henned up. But I was able to go ahead and I army crawled in and got into their bubble.
Yeah.
And he was henned up, and I saw him out in the field break off of her and come back out of the woods into that field. And I gave him some calls and purrs, and he broke because there was those other 3 or 4 that was with another hen, and he came into range there, and I smoked him. And like I said, 1 7/8 inch spur and 1 3/4 inch spur.
That's a good bird.
Yeah, it looked nice on the video. I kind of zoomed in on
Oh, yeah.
that. Was
Man,
nice.
That's a big key. A lot of people say you can't hunt a henned up gobbler, but if you can get in that bubble,
Yeah.
you can do it. It's easy.
Well, and for me too, here's where I'm at for you as well too. My time I love is like 10 to 12.
10 to 12?
yes,
Okay.
past 3 years, every bird I've shot has been between
wonder
10
why.
and 12.
So when you got normal first off roost, right? So if you can get them, either intercept them even with their henned up, going to somewhere, their strut zone, or if you can get them off the roost where they're not henned up, right? Well, the first thing they're going to do generally is try to get a hen. So you're going to give them those first few hours of breeding. And then they're going to break away from her and start like a buck, but just their cycle's a lot shorter. Start looking for the next hen, right? So normally a lot of that happens around that 10 o'clock plus time frame, and it is killer.
I'll have to keep that in the back of my head.
That's
there.
my favorite time. Every bird I've killed, I don't think I've killed a bird straight off roost. I don't think I have. to be honest
I
with
think
you.
you've told me that because that's why I was like, oh man, we're just gonna roost
I-
bird and go in there and
I don't even
get it
waste. I don't waste my time with roosting birds anymore. I don't. I'll go out, wait till daylight. Well, almost crack of daylight, and I'll just try to strike one up.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I'll kind of like use the morning, get an inventory of, okay, there's a bird here, there's a bird here, there's a bird here, and I'll just bounce. So one hen's up, cool. Go after another one. That's what I do. I just bounce around, figure out where they're at.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn turkeys. If it's anything like deer, I'm gonna have a lot of
You'll be obsessed.
money and
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you'll
that's-
be right up in
obsessed.
this.
So like last year, I finished my Grand Slam.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So I was went with some friends, did Washington State, did Idaho. I was able to tag 2 birds in Washington, 1 in Idaho, and that completed my Grand Slam.
I said the Grand Slam is 4 birds.
Yeah. So you got the Eastern, the Osceola, the Merriam, and the Rio.
Mhm.
So are you going to continue and try to go for the gold?
There
Or
is
the
some thought about
oscillated?
doing the Goulds. Now this year, I'm actually going to go hit Montana
Ooh,
and
there
do
you go.
it. So part of what I'm wanting to do is just hit some of these other states. I'm not going to say that I'm going to try to get all 49 that some of the people are trying to do, but what I really want to do is go up and do like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire.
those
Yeah.
are some really hard states to hunt. But a lot of people also say southern U.S. is the hardest, like Mississippi, Alabama.
Oh, yeah, I can't speak to that. What I do know about some friends that I've been getting feedback for, especially up in that Northeast, is that a lot of those areas you've got full access as long as it's not posted.
Oh wow.
So
There's a lot-
everybody's private land. A lot of these states is that as long as it's not posted, you can hunt it.
Is that just
Wow.
is that for turkey only or is it?
I won't say for turkey only. I know there's
Yeah.
some I think for deer as well. It just depends.
I think Nebraska, I think, is like
That's
that too.
crazy.
Nebraska or one of the Dakotas is like that too.
And
I'd
some
have-
of them are even the same with like recovery. Like, they can't stop you from recovering your deer.
I kind of agree with that one. I mean, I feel like
Well, that's where you just get into, if you're going to go hunt there, read up on the laws.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's,
Yeah.
Do your
For sure.
due diligence.
I always try to make friends with adjacent. If I'm hunting on a property, I want to be friends with the other owners around. You
Well,
know?
and,
Yeah.
and to your point there, like I was talking with a friend the other day there, and they had done the Northeast, like I said, and he always went ahead, he told me, and would stop and talk with the neighbors, even though he knew. And he said other people I was hunting with would keep right on walking right by. And he said, we came back the following year and they had posted their property. He said, I went up and talked with the landowners, and they said, you can hunt, but none of the people that are with you can. You came and talked with us, asked permission, was courteous, even though you could have done it anyway. They didn't. So you can hunt, but they can't.
That's right.
Wow.
So there's still something to be said, again, about even though you can, be courteous, be respectful.
Yeah, that's
It
that's
goes a long ways.
yeah, that's half the battle with shoring up. If you're into the door knocking stuff,
Yeah.
you don't door knock and look mean. When they answer the door,
I'm saying,
could you imagine how
I
many
mean,
no's you'd get? But
at this point, I'm just going to I'm going to pull Justin. I'm going to show up at their house with 6 chickens.
hey, it worked. It worked.
That is the craziest
It
offering
worked.
I've ever heard.
Hey, offer them a renewable resource. It keeps
I was
eggs.
a
They keep.
little confused whenever you asked me about it. I was like, what? is
You
he
just
doing?
gotta keep the line of communication
Does
open.
Chris know about that?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
telling me
okay,
about
I
it.
told
yeah.
him about it. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a new one.
I didn't think it was that bad of an idea, honestly. It worked.
I guess for everybody listening, I don't think they do. Justin had acquired chickens from Aaron here to bribe someone to hunt on their
I
property.
wouldn't say it's
and
a
it worked.
bribe now.
Yeah, it did.
It's more of a peace offering. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's what do people normally do when they ask for permission? Normally it's, hey, can I just hunt your property? It's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
hey, I'm willing to go ahead and help your fence or fix fence for you. I'm willing to do whatever for you, help you in your garden.
Yeah.
So when you sit there and you come back and you say, hey, I went ahead and brought these chickens and stuff for you.
Well, he ended up giving me full hunting access and access to his 4-wheeler.
Oh, okay.
So it worked
Got a
out.
Can't beat that,
It worked
yeah.
out. It worked out.
Me
They
and
were
you
great
went
people.
through that discussion the other day. There's just a lot, and people think, oh, I just need to ask permission. No.
Throw a weed eater in the back of your truck.
Oh, yeah.
Go knock on doors and be helpful. Don't be, I want to hunt on your property and you will only see me during this point in time.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to cut any trees out of your, if you have 4-wheeler paths, it takes 5 minutes to cut a little tree out of the way, and sometimes that's all it takes to just,
So like
You
Chris
know,
said,
keep
be
people-
courteous.
be courteous.
Helps.
Be a good person. I don't know. It's worked for me a couple times, and I've met a lot of good people and still have lifelong friends that I've made doing that, like with the chicken situation, that guy, if he called me, I'd be there, and I know for a fact it'd be the same way,
Sure.
Now, you have a trip planned out west here before too long, don't you?
You're talking about the Montana trip?
Mhm.
Yeah. For turkey?
Oh, good deal. I
Yeah.
am excited to see what you think of the knives.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, very excited. I not so much for promotion, but I want your opinion on them. I'm very self-conscious about everything that comes out of here. You can ask them if we have people that no one can be 100%, especially with the volume that we put out. When we get warranty claims or something like that, I take it to heart pretty quick. So I'm always looking for good feedback, and
I've seen some rough stuff already. Like that guy with the
we're not even going to get into it. We've had some real doozies.
Yeah.
People call that don't even own one of our knives. That
Oh,
want us
I
to work
will
on
say a
knives.
guy. So the handles that are in your knife, you
Mhm.
have basically a black on black setup, black blade, black
Yeah.
handles. Well, our smaller knives, the Badgers, we do the same thing. And we sold a guy a knife, and he messaged me and said that the black on the handle was too black. And I sat the phone down because our chat from the website goes directly to my phone, and I sat my phone down and I sat there for about 15 minutes, and I had no idea what to say. I was like, how am I to respond that the hue of the black is
Right.
too black?
Sorry.
Like,
Yeah.
That's just
Uh,
one. Like,
Yeah.
There's some wild stuff. Like you got a guy that bridged a starter with one of his
yeah, and
knives.
then
Jeez.
we have the exact opposite cool stuff like that. A guy was on his tractor out in the field. I see me is down south, huge fields, or maybe out Midwest.
Yeah, it could have been.
I can't remember.
Sure.
And he had to get the tractor back. It was getting late, and he had to bridge the starter
Mhm.
with a Badger that we sold him. And he sent me a picture, and this thing, it looked like the Terminator had just melted.
Toasted up.
There was no tip. It was rounded over like somebody had taken a stick welder and just annihilated the tip. and I refused. He was just asking how he could buy another one, just the blade, and save the handles. And I refused to do it. I sent him a whole brand new knife, sheath, everything, because it's exactly what I wanted our knives to be used
That's
for.
awesome.
And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this. So to me, it's kind of like, where I've done some other things where it's, either doing some unveiling or sharing stuff. To me, first thing that you always look at is, let's say, the packaging.
Right.
So we were talking about the boxes, and I was asking, where do you guys get your boxes? Because I love the packaging. If we step back,
Yeah.
I've already mentioned it in like my post. I love supporting West Virginia businesses, and it's great what you guys are doing and stuff. So your packaging looks awesome.
I appreciate it.
I love the box, the design you guys have on it. Again, promoting, supporting West Virginia. And then, of course, open it up. And I love how you guys have your stickers that are in there so people can do it. All of the filler, to make sure and have it nice in there, embedded, I'll say. And then, we were talking about earlier, I love the sheaths, and you've got that clip system and everything that's really neat. But yeah, and then you slide the knife out and you start seeing the work. And then, of course, going through and seeing in your guys' shop, the quality and the love that you guys are putting into your work. They handle really well. The handles themselves are really cool looking. And then the process you guys go through, I'm happy to be able to share it with a lot of people. And I just feel honored and blessed to be able to be working with you guys.
I appreciate it, man. And that, what you said brings up another point is I wanted to talk to you about building the hunting industry in West Virginia and what we could do more, because
Sure.
that packaging specifically, the whole reason I designed it like that is because I always felt, especially when I was younger, you didn't really get a lot of media or anything about hunting out of it. It's always seemed to me like the older generation in West Virginia didn't quite understand or get on board with really high-end film or pushing it. I mean, if you look at our box, the mountain range, that's Seneca Rock.
Okay.
It's just an animated version with, the skeleton standing on it. And I told myself, I was like, if I'm going to make knives and do a production with a box, I want it to be, as soon as you see it, it was made in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because we need to build this state up for that industry.
Well, that's like, the name that I went through for my whole following or group, under Chris Ashley is Passion for the Wild and Wonderful. So if anybody knows, it's Wild and Wonderful West Virginia.
That's right.
It's the first thing you see coming into the state.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look forward to it every time.
But to your comment too about West Virginia, one of the things that I struggle with, West Virginia doesn't always get a good reputation or representation of the people that are here. But one of the things I think when you go to a lot of different areas that people can say is some of the nicest people come out of West Virginia.
Right.
Yes.
100%.
Whether it be both showing respect or willingness to help, different kinds of things. And, whether you watch a lot of these movies, West Virginia people typically are not yes,
no,
aren't shown that well. But anyways, that's kind of for me too, is that, my background is I want to use the platform that I have to be educational is one of the big things, to show my passion for the outdoors, but to be educational for others that might be entering the outdoors, or to also show people that they're not alone, that you can still learn and keep doing what you're doing and enjoy doing it and share it with others.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get behind the whole educational thing because, kind of with these two, I pushed them. Maybe they're going to do competition archery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were really dragged into that
Quickly
too.
Yeah.
bringing someone into something new, sharing something in the outdoors. I fully get it, and I'm all about it. So
Yeah, that should be everybody's goal, is to, if you can get one person into hunting in your career of hunting, I think you had a pretty good time,
Yeah.
So what you're doing is what I wish me personally had 10 years ago, because I wouldn't have learned the hard way, Like you're putting these videos out that explain stuff, right?
Trying to, yeah.
Trying to, which
Yeah.
you do a very good job.
Thank you.
And I just wish I had the content a couple years ago so I could not make the mistakes. But
Well, and that's kind of where it turned for me is it's not to say all of them are like it, but a lot of the bigger names, and we talked about this, I think, at the Hunt Show, are more about just showing harvests, but not the approach of how they got to that harvest.
Yeah,
you know?
everything leading up to it.
Right. Yeah. What made my decision to hunt right here or to hang the stand right here or to only hunt on this specific day
Yeah.
or even maybe the equipment that you're choosing to hunt with. A lot of that's not covered. And my method, as I said, of hunting is different than a large part of most of the people out in the outdoors now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with it. So for me, I think that's part of what I want people to see when they're seeing my content, that I'm not just sitting there hunting over a feeder or a bait pile. I'm sitting there showing you how to do what I'm doing, being able to hunt mature deer hunting,
right.
Reading sign. And a large part of it is just putting the time in and having luck also be on your side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the big things, putting the time in and putting the effort into it.
Oh, yeah.
I can agree with that wholeheartedly.
And like you
Sure.
said, practicing too. Yeah. Did I have a couple deflections? Yeah. Was that from me? No. Did I see the limbs? No. But I was still able to pull it off. And
Yeah.
that's, again, target shooting to me is a great thing. I love shooting 3D because it does nothing but put you in more of a stressful situation that makes you be able to react even better under pressure when that moment of truth happens.
Yeah.
We might have to test that, get you out at one of these 3D shoots.
I love shooting.
Might be one here.
There might be one here.
It gets heated here.
Kicked around the idea.
Yeah, we have. We have thought
We're
about
having
it.
a
We're
little
going to start
shooting.
collecting some serious 3D targets
Sure.
and filling that gully right there behind the shop with them.
Well, and for me, that's how I got my kids involved. I was a member of a 3D course, and I'd shoot indoor 3D league and stuff. But I would have the kids walk the course with me, and they had their little, plastic arrows and stuff, and would go up and shoot and walk the courses and stuff with me because, get them out, get them exercise, get them exposure to it and everything. And
Oh, yeah.
That's how I
It
got
was
my
great.
start in it.
That's exactly what we've been doing with my son. We get him out and shoot with us. The Bowie shooting came from him. I think the sight, was it the sight? It came from you.
Yeah, sight
I mean,
stabilizer.
he's got a Hamsky drop away. This kid is set
Set,
up
yeah.
to the T.
yeah,
And I was worried at first he'd pick it up and, get a couple hours out of it, and he's just not interested. He comes off the bus at 3:00 and comes in here. He's like, you done?
you want to shoot?
I'd like to shoot.
That's
You
awesome.
know? And
Yeah.
of course, the weather's so cold right now. It's tough, but
Yeah.
He still went for like an hour last time.
he's going to be an
Yeah.
animal when it warms up with us, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I'm more excited for him than I am for me, I think.
Well, and I think, I tried to bring it up in one of my posts the other day is if your kids are active in the outdoors in the woods and carries through into older ages, they're not as likely because they're occupied with that to be out getting into trouble that they shouldn't be.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, and I know I'm getting like all kinds of, some flack on trapping and stuff, but hunters in general and outdoorsmen have a certain level of respect that they learn, life lessons that they learn that a lot of people don't recognize or appreciate that aren't really exposed to the outdoors.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Hunting, fishing, trapping.
Yeah.
All of that is an excellent way to learn wildlife management and mainly conservation. Trapping is a big deal with conservation.
And life principles.
Yeah.
Appreciation.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know? I mean, we all hunt for the love of hunting, but another huge part of it is leaving wildlife for our children.
Yeah.
You
Better
know?
than what we got.
I
Right.
mean, who does more for conservation than hunters? Nobody.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to have you here. We're really glad to be working with you.
I appreciate it.
It's going to be a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.